Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy on Facebook Live doing a hardcore course in miracles. Tonight, in this broadcast, we're going to be doing Setting the Goal. We're going to be talking about what the Course in Miracles says about goals and what the goal should be. So this presentation is all about goals. What the Course in Miracles says about setting the goal. I'm Earl Purdy. Welcome to A Course in Miracles, hardcore Course in Miracles. We are live. I want to welcome all of my mighty companions. Since we're live, you can communicate with me. You can communicate with each other. I want to ask you to take a few seconds and share this broadcast on your timeline right now so that other people can tune in and join us in the love. I want to thank you for being here. We're going to go deep. This is Hardcore Course in Miracles. So this is geared toward Course in Miracles students who are studying the Course in Miracles. I'm Earl Purdy, and I'm glad to be here. We're going to be on Setting the Goal, Setting the Goal. We're going to be on Setting the Goal, which is Chapter 17 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. It's Chapter 17, and it's the section 6 called Setting the Goal on page 365. Page 365 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. We're on page 365. We're in chapter 17, and we're in the section called Setting the Goal. Setting the Goal. Setting the Goal. We're going to see what the Course in Miracles is saying about setting the goal. Now remember, with Hardcore Course in Miracles, it's about us really hearing what the Course in Miracles is saying and really trying to apply it as we hear it. So this is an application class. This is an application experience. This is not geared toward analyzing A Course in Miracles. It's about hearing clearly what the message is that the Holy Spirit is trying to give us about what we should do right now. I'm so glad to be with you. It's called Setting the Goal. Setting the Goal. All right. It's on page 365. So I want to say hello to Diana, Elaine, Kim, Jim, Morris, Joanna, everybody. CJ, Jim, everybody. So I want to tell you right now that we're going to talk about setting the goal. Are you ready? So we are going to go through the paragraph. The Course in Miracles says, do me slowly, do me slowly, do me slowly. So I'm going to do this very slowly to make sure that we're hearing the message that the Holy Spirit, the voice for love, the voice for God is trying to give us. The first sentence says, the practical application of the Holy Spirit's purpose is extremely simple. So does that mean that the practical application of God's purpose is extremely simple? Does that mean that the Course in Miracles is telling us that applying God's purpose is extremely simple, but it is unequivocal? So applying God's purpose is extremely simple according to the Course in Miracles. But it also says it is unequivocal. In fact, in order for the application of God's purpose to be simple, it must be unequivocal. So what does that mean? What does that mean that applying God's purpose is simple, but it must be unequivocal? Now, the Holy Spirit, according to the Course in Miracles, the Holy Spirit is another term for the voice for love in you, the voice of your inner teacher, the voice of your inner teacher, the voice for God, the voice for love. The Course in Miracles is only talking about love or fear. So you could just as easily say The practical application of love's purpose is extremely simple, but the practical application of love's purpose is unequivocal. That means, in fact, in order for the application of God's purpose to be unequivocal, it has to be simple. So what is the meaning of simple? What is the Course in Miracles meaning of simple? The simple is merely what is easily understood. So does that mean that the practical application of the Course is actually simple? And it also means the practical application of the Course in Miracles is also easily understood. So something that's simple has to be something that's easily understood. And for something to be easily understood, it is apparent that it must be clear. So does this mean that the application of God's purpose is extremely simple? Yes. Does this mean that what's simple is something that's easily understood? Yes. Does that mean for something to be easily understood, it must be clear? Yes. So forget anything that your mind, the ego, has said to you about the Course in Miracles being difficult, complex. The Course in Miracles, it says that the practical application of God's purpose is extremely simple. In fact, it's easily understood and it's clear. So what's the next stage? Well, it says that the setting of the Holy Spirit's goal is general. The setting of love's goal is general. What does that mean? Well, we are quick to say, I want to love everybody. I want to love everything, right? Well, that is the Holy Spirit's goal. The Holy Spirit's goal, which is the goal of love, is general. Okay, so you generally want to experience love. You want to experience freedom. The Course in Miracles says, well, now the Holy Spirit, now the Creator, will work with you to make the goal specific, for application is specific. Okay, I'm going to say this until we have a chance to tune in. I've been doing the Course in Miracles 38 years. I know that when you first start to share anything from the Course in Miracles, usually the ego goes wild with distractions and focusing in on everything except what's being said. And so I know that everybody is getting settled in to hear this right now, and their minds are racing everywhere. But I want to ask you to bring your focus in. Bring your focus in. Even though we are commenting, still bring your focus in. And let's hear what God is trying to tell us. The first thing the Creator is telling us is that its purpose is simple. And so therefore, God's purpose is going to be easily understood, which means that God is going to make God's perfect purpose clear to us. The setting of the Holy Spirit's goal is general. Now the Holy Spirit will work with you to make it specific, for application is specific. What does that mean? That means if you're going to apply the truth, you have to start applying it specifically. Instead of just saying, I want to love everybody, you got to also start going, I'm going to love this or that or them or that person. I'm going to apply this truth specifically. Now, there are certain very specific guidelines. There are very specific guidelines that love provides for any situation. Any situation, yes, it doesn't matter what situation that you're in. The Holy Spirit is going to provide very specific guidelines for how to achieve God's purpose in that situation. So I want to invite you to think of a situation that you would like to see healed. I want you to think of a situation that you would like God's purpose of love and truth applied to. Because we were just told that application is specific. Application is specific. So no matter what the situation that you're in right now, no matter what the relationship that you're in right now, God provides very specific guidelines about how to deal with that situation. But remember, what did it say? Remember. Remember what? That you do not yet realize the very specific guidelines, their universal application. You don't know how to apply the truth to every situation. Because if a person knew how to apply the truth to every situation, that would be a person that is experiencing nothing but love and nothing but joy and nothing but peace in every situation. So the Course is saying, you don't know how to do this in every situation. You don't know how to practice the Course in every situation. You don't know how to apply unconditional love to every situation. And he says, remember that. Remember what? That you don't know how to do this in every situation yet. Don't forget, you don't know how to practice this and apply the love and truth and the Course in every situation. It's actually telling us, don't forget that. Don't forget that you don't know how to do this in every situation. Don't forget that you don't know how to practice love in every situation. You just tell the truth. You don't know how to apply God's purpose to every situation. So the Course in Miracles says, so what do you do since you don't know how to apply the truth in every situation? Since you don't know how to apply love in every situation, what do you do? What do you do? Therefore, it is essential. It is what? Essential when at this point, it is essential. At this point, it is essential, since you don't know how to apply the truth universally in every situation, since you don't know how to love universally in every situation, it is essential at this point to use the very specific guidelines that God is going to give us in each situation separately. So since I can't apply the truth in every situation yet, then I'm going to attempt to apply the truth in each situation that I'm in. Since I can't apply the truth all the time to every relationship I'm in, I'm going to start using the guidelines that God is giving me in each separate situation. So how long do you apply the truth to each separate specific situation? Well, I apply the truth to each separate situation and relationship until you can look more safely, until you can more safely look beyond each situation in an understanding far broader than you now possess. So take a breath, because we're going through the Course fog to get to the truth. Okay, so what did we just hear? What did we just hear? What was the takeaway in that first paragraph? Well, that first paragraph, didn't you hear it tell us that the practical application of God's purpose is really, really simple? And if something's going to be simple, it's got to be something that's easily understood. And in order for something to be easily understood, it's apparent that it has to be clear. So God, or the Holy Spirit's goal, is general. We know the goal of the Holy Spirit is forgiveness and love. He says now the Holy Spirit, your inner guide, is going to work with you to make the application of the goal of love specific, because it doesn't mean anything if you're not applying the truth and the love specifically. What were we not also told that there are very specific guidelines that God provides for any situation? There are very specific guidelines that God or love provides for any situation, but we were told what? We were told that you need to remember that you don't know how to apply love universally, unconditionally in every situation. And since you don't know how to apply the truth in every situation, you are to apply these guidelines in each situation that you're in until you have an understanding that's much greater than the understanding that you have right now. Apply the Course in Miracles to every situation that you're in until you have more understanding than you do right now. Apply what the Course in Miracles is telling you, which is what God is telling you, which is what the Holy Spirit is telling you. Apply this in every situation, each situation, until you can see past that situation, because you have an understanding that's much greater than the understanding that you have right now. The purpose that the Course in Miracles gives us, it applies to everything. We should be forgiving and loving everything. But then the Course in Miracles says our inner teacher knows that we cannot apply the truth yet in every situation. So then our inner teacher is going to give us very specific guidelines that we are to use in each separate situation and relationship that we're in, until we can look beyond the situation that we're in with an understanding that's much more greater than you have right now. Did you hear what the first paragraph was saying? Did you get it? Are you hearing it? Because the Course in Miracles, hardcore Course in Miracles is about hearing what the instructions are. This class on Thursdays is about hearing the message. It is about hearing the message. That is what the hardcore Course in Miracles class is about. It's not about analyzing the message, because there's nothing to analyze. Why am I saying there's nothing to analyze? Well, we've been told that applying what the Course in Miracles and what the Holy Spirit is telling us to do is really simple, and that it's going to be easily understood, it's going to be clear, and that you got to use these guidelines in each situation, each circumstance that you're going through right now, until you can look past the situation and circumstance that you're going through right now, in an understanding that's a lot greater than the understanding that you have about that situation. Because if you have fear about the situation, if you have some type of upset about a situation, then it means you are not applying the truth specifically to that situation. But we were also told, hey, guess what? I want you to remember you don't know how to apply the truth. And you don't apply the truth to every situation. So you need to start applying the truth to this situation until you can look past this situation with an understanding that's a lot greater than the understanding that you have right now about this situation. And you know you don't understand the situation if you still have fear and upset about the situation. That's how you know you don't understand the situation. That's also how you know you're not applying the truth and following the Holy Spirit's guidelines in that situation. It also would mean that you're not making it simple, and it would also mean you're not making it clear. It would mean that your ego is making it really complex. That's why you still have the upset about the situation. So why do you still have upset about the situation? You have fear and upset about the situation because you're not applying the Holy Spirit's guidelines to that specific situation. And so you have to apply the truth. You have to apply the truth to every situation until you can look safely past that situation in an understanding that's much broader than the understanding that you now possess. Okay, Yvette says, I am willing. Jana says she's speaking to everybody. Diana is saying, this is exactly the message I needed to hear now. That is exactly what I feel too, Diana. Nothing to analyze. It's simple. I'm looking at the comments right now. Cheryl says, my heart and ears are open to hear the message. CJ says, yes, before I can truly meet the goal of spirit on all levels, I must be willing to apply the guidelines in specific situations to build up my love muscles. Kim says, I know how to apply the truth universally in every situation. So I will take it one at a time. That's right. The Course in Miracles just said we do not know how to apply the truth universally in every situation. So instead of being concerned about applying the truth in a general way, that first paragraph, the Holy Spirit is telling us, no, I want you to apply what you are learning in each specific situation. Alita says, I need to hear this. Renew says, my ego is not letting me apply. Marion says, it was slow, but by George, I think I got it. Whew, had to ask Spirit to help me tune in. I know, I've been doing the Course in Miracles 38 years, folks. I've worked with thousands, literally, of Course in Miracles students all over the world. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I can save you some time. I can save you some time because we were just told the Holy Spirit is synonymous with the teachings of the Course in Miracles. So you could say that it's saying that the purpose of the Course, we know, is forgiveness and love and peace, that's the general goal. Then we were told that the purpose that God gives you, the purpose that love gives you, that the application of that is going to be simple and it's going to be very clear and it's going to be easily understood. So how can you tell when the truth is speaking to you? It will be simple, it will be clear to you, and you will easily understand it. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. In any situation, I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to drive you nuts, but I'm obeying Jesus. I'm going to do exactly what the teacher is saying. And the teacher says, if you study A Course in Miracles, you know it says many times in the book, slowly. In any situation in which you are uncertain, in any situation in which you have doubt, in any situation that you are doubting in, the first thing to consider, very simply, is what do I want to come of this? What is it for? In any relationship, in any situation that you have doubt, what is the first thing you need to consider? Who can tell me what the first thing is you need to consider whenever you're in doubt? Whenever you're in any situation and you are uncertain, what is the very first thing that you need to consider? Very simply is, that's right, what do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What do I want to happen? What do I want to happen? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? I'm going through this situation. I have a lot of doubt about it. I'm in this relationship. I have a lot of doubt about it. The first thing I need to consider is, what do I want to come out of this relationship? What do I want to come out of this situation? What is it that I want to come out? Notice that it said come out, to come of it. What do I want to come of this? So if there's a situation that you're in doubt about right now, if there's a situation you have any kind of upset, doubt, or fear about right now, really do the most outlandish thing in the world. Actually say to yourself, exactly what A Course in Miracles is telling you to say. Just for the heck of it, say exactly what the Course in Miracles is telling you to say, and say it just like the Course in Miracles is telling you to say it. In other words, go, what do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? I have doubt in this situation. What do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? I have doubt. I'm in this situation. It's been causing me concern and worry. What's the first thing that I need to consider? What's the first thing that I need to consider? The first thing I need to consider is, what do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What am I going through this for? What do I want to come out of this? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What is it for? I'm full of doubt. I'm in this situation. I'm upset. I'm in this situation. I'm feeling nervous. I'm in this situation. I'm feeling fear. What's the first thing I need to consider? What's the first thing I need to consider? What's the first thing I need to consider? What do I want to come out of this situation? What is it? What is it for? What am I going through this for? It's like if someone comes up to you and they want to go out with you, ask them what for. What do you want to come out of going up? What do you want to come out of going out with me? What do you want to go out with me for? What do you want? You want to go to the movie with me? What do you want to go to the movie with me for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? Okay, so why do you want to make sure that you say to yourself, what do I want to come of this? Why do you want to make sure that you say, what is it for? Okay, it's because the clarification of the goal, the clarification of what the goal is, belongs at the beginning. What do you do at the beginning? At the beginning, you clarify what the goal is. So if you're in a situation right now and it's stressing you out in some kind of way, love says to you, the Holy Spirit says to you, that the first thing you need to do is to consider what? What do I want to come out of this situation? What is it for? I'm in this situation, and I know every one of you has some situation that you're not giving yourself peace in, or you would already be an enlightened master and you probably wouldn't even be watching this broadcast. Okay, so let's get real. So there is some area of your life right now that you know you're keeping yourself from having the peace of God with. We are being told exactly what to do in order to get out of that situation so that we can have love and peace. This is what you do. The first thing you do is you ask yourself, what do I want to come out of this situation? What is it for? Why do you do that? Because you have to clarify the goal at the very beginning in any situation where you're upset. Let's say somebody at work just made you made yourself mad. That's the way it always works. You made yourself mad about something at work, for instance. The first thing you should do before you do anything else is to consider, well, what do I want to come out of this situation? What is this situation for? What do I want to come out of this upset? What is this upset for? The clarification of the goal belongs where? At the beginning. Because it is this, the goal, which will determine the outcome. Why do you want to come up with your goal, which is either peace or conflict ultimately? Why do you want to come up with your goal at the very beginning? Because a goal determines how it's going to turn out. Your goal will determine how something is going to turn out. Your goal will determine the outcome. Your purpose determines how things turn out. So that's why the first thing that you want to do if you're in any situation that you are uncertain in, you want to ask yourself, what do I want to come of this? What is it for? You want to do that at the very beginning because the goal will determine how the situation turns out. The goal, did you hear what I said? The goal, which is either going to be peace or conflict, ultimately. That goal is going to determine how the whole situation that a person is uncertain in, it's going to determine how that situation turns out. Let's say there's a person that's going through a misunderstanding with their partner, okay, and they have a lot of doubt and uncertainty about their relationship with their partner. The first thing that they should do is ask themselves, what do I want to come out of this relationship? What am I in this relationship for? Why am I in this relationship with this person? What is it that I want to come out of this? Then you stop and get clear about that, right? Then you stop and you go, okay, before I even talk to my partner, let me clarify what my goal is in talking to my partner. And then the Course in Miracles beautifully says there aren't but two purposes in any relationship or situation. You're either going to use that relationship or situation to recognize your innocence. You're going to use that situation or relationship to recognize love, or you're going to use that situation to create some kind of guilt or fear or anger, or you're going to use that situation for peace or love, one or the other. The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, because the goal is going to determine how that situation turns out. So does that mean that if you truly go into any situation with a sincere desire for you to keep your peace, that in any situation you could keep your peace? That is exactly what it means. That if you go into any situation that you have any kind of uncertainty about, and you clarify at the very beginning what you want to come out of that situation, that goal is going to determine how it turns out. Okay? So it says in the ego's procedure, this is reversed. So what is the ego? The ego is the mind that is fear-based. It's the part of the mind that thinks it's separate from God and separate from love. You could basically say the ego, from a Course perspective, would be the human mind. The mind of the person that thinks that they are separate, the mind of the person that thinks they are a body, that is the ego. So in the ego's procedure, and the Course in Miracles also calls the ego wrong-mindedness, and it calls the Holy Spirit right-mindedness. So in the wrong mind's procedure, this is reversed. What does that mean? Well, it means when you're in your fearful mind, you think the situation becomes the determiner of the outcome. And if you're listening to your ego, it looks like the outcome can be anything. And the reason for this disorganized approach is evident. The ego, a fearful mind, the regular human mind, the mind that's full of guilt, the mind that's full of fear, the mind that thinks it's separate, does not know what it wants to come of the situation. So it's always the ego mind. It is always the ego mind that says, I don't know what I want to come of this. I don't know what I want out of this relationship. I don't know what I want out of this situation. I don't know what I want out of this circumstance. It's always the ego that says, I don't know what I want to come of this situation. So it's always the ego, the fear-based mind, the mind that is asleep. It says that mind does not know what it wants to come of the situation. So what is it that an ego is aware of? If the ego is not aware, if your ego is not aware of what it wants to come out of a situation or circumstance, what is it that your ego is aware of? Your ego is aware of what it doesn't want to happen. It's always the fear-based part of the mind. It's always the ego that goes, I'm aware of what I don't want. I can tell you what I don't like. I can tell you what I don't want. I can tell you what I don't like. I can tell you what I don't want to happen. I can tell you what I don't want to experience. It's always the ego that can tell you what it doesn't want. The fear-based mind, the mind that is the ego mind, the asleep mind, only knows that it doesn't know what it wants. So it's only the ego in you that doesn't know what you want. It's only the part of you that's not you that doesn't know what you want. So your ego is only aware of what it doesn't like, what it doesn't want, and it doesn't have any positive goal at all. So a fear-based mind doesn't have a positive goal at all. A guilty mind doesn't have a positive goal at all. A mind that thinks it's separate, a person that thinks they're separate and different, that's a person that ultimately, from a Course in Miracles perspective, doesn't have a positive goal at all. Okay, so let's see what was the message that we got in paragraph 2. Okay, let's see if you can remember. See if you can remember how much of what we just heard you can remember. Okay, so in any situation, what is it you're supposed to do in any situation that you're uncertain? What is it you're supposed to do in any situation that you're uncertain? What is the first thing you need to consider in any situation in which you have doubt? What is the first thing that you need to consider? The first thing that a person needs to consider is, what do I want to come out of this situation? What am I going through this for? Why am I going through this? What do I want to happen? What do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What is it for? What is it for? Now, what is it that you have to do and that you should do at the very beginning? Well, the clarification of what? The clarification of the goal. So the first thing you want to do when you're in a situation is to ask yourself what you want to come out of the situation, and then set the goal for what you want to come out of the situation. And from A Course in Miracles perspective, we know what you're supposed to ask for. You're supposed to ask for the peace of love, the peace of God. You're supposed to ask for love, that you want love to come out of the situation. You want love to come out of the situation. You don't care what the heck the situation is. You want freedom to come out of the situation. You want love to come out of the situation. You want abundance to come out of the situation. You want innocence to come out of the situation. That's the first thing you tell yourself. No matter what the situation, you set the Holy Spirit's purpose. Don't you know that the clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning. Why is it that the clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning? Because that's what's going to determine how the situation turns out. The situation is going to turn out according to the goal that you call for and focus on at the very beginning. Now, what does your ego do? What does your ego do? What is the part of you that doesn't know anything? What does it do? Well, what were we told? We were told that we think that the situation just kind of happens to us and that anything can happen to us. The Course in Miracles says our ego has a very disorganized approach. And what is the disorganized approach of the fearful mind? What is the disorganized approach of the guilty mind? It says it right there on the page. The disorganized approach is evident, which is the ego doesn't know what it wants to come out of a situation. A person that's in their ego don't know what they want to come out of the situation. All they know is what they don't want. Have you ever been around somebody and all they can do is tell you what they don't want? Well, I don't want you to do this, and I don't want you to do that, and I don't like you doing this, and I don't like you doing that. That's the ego. That's the ego. That's the fearful mind. That's who you're talking to. That's who you're hanging out with. That's what's speaking through you. Your ego doesn't have a positive goal at all. Your ego doesn't have a positive goal at all. Jana says, this is so powerful. Tracy says, peace, love, abundance. Sahira says, freedom. Kim says, yes, whatever the goal, I want love, peace, and freedom. Alita says, chaotic. Yeah, the ego is totally chaotic. Well, who am I going to decide to trust at the beginning? Fear-based or something that's love and peace-based is what Greg says. Alita, it says when uncertainty. That's right. When you're uncertain, what is the first thing you should consider when you're uncertain? When you're uncertain, the first thing that you should consider is what? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? Diana says, ego doesn't know what it wants. It only knows what they don't want. And a disorganized approach is the ego doesn't know anything. The ego doesn't know anything. And then Elaine had the realization saying, dear God, been speaking to the ego too often. Tell the ego to go. I want to say something about the ego. The Course in Miracles talks about the ego and acts like the ego is a separate thing. But the ego is just a thought in your mind. It's just the fearful, worldly, untrue thoughts in your mind. The ego is nothing but the untrue thoughts that you've learned in your mind. The ego is not a separate, alive entity. The ego is nothing but the thoughts of separation and the thoughts of fear and guilt that are in your mind. So the ego is just a part of your own mind. It's a concept of yourself as separate that you made up. So that part of you, it doesn't know what it wants to come of a situation. The Course in Miracles is saying that part of you, the ego part of you, the unaware part of you, of your mind, is aware of what it doesn't want. It's only aware of what it doesn't want. It has no positive goal at all. What do I mean by that? The Course in Miracles is only trying to teach you the difference between the voice of truth in your mind and the voice of the lie and untruth in your mind. A Course in Miracles is saying, you know what? You don't know how to tell the difference between when you're listening to God and when you're listening to yourself. You don't know how to tell the difference when you're listening to your inner guidance and when you're just listening to the voice that you are making up. That's what the Course in Miracles is saying to us. You guys and gals don't know when you're listening to the lying part of your mind and when you're listening to the truth part of your mind. And the purpose of the Course in Miracles is to teach you how to tell the difference. So what would love's advice be in any situation that you're uncertain? Well, you know that if it's coming from love, you know that if it's coming from God, that you are going to be able to apply whatever it is specifically. You know if it's coming from God, it's going to be simple. You know if it's coming from God, it's going to be clear. You know that if it's coming from God, it's going to be easily understood. If it's not clear, if it's not simple, if it's not loving, if it's not easily understood, it is coming from your ego. It is coming from the false self. If it's not loving, if it's not simple, if it's not clear, if it's not easily understood, then it is not coming from truth. It is not coming from God according to what this Course in Miracles is saying. So what would an answer from God tell you to do if you're in doubt, if you're afraid? Well, an answer from God would say to you, you know what? The first thing that you should consider in this situation, is, what do you want to come out of this? What is it for? What do you want to come out of this situation? What is it for? Because the clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning. That's simple. What is the goal? Love or fear? That's simple. And why do you want to make the choice of love or fear? Because that's going to determine how the situation turns out. That's why you want to be clear about what you want to experience before you really deal with a situation. Decide what you want to come out of it. Now, what about the ego? What about the false voice? How do I know when I'm listening to my false voice? Well, how can you tell when you're listening to your false voice? What it says right here. The ego does not know what it wants to come of the situation. The ego does not know what it wants to come of the situation. So the ego doesn't know what it wants to come of the situation. So when you're listening to your ego, what are you going to find yourself saying? I don't know what I want out of this situation. I don't know what I want out of being with this person. I don't know what I want out of my financial situation. I don't know what I want out of my spiritual situation. I don't know if I want to stay in Denver. I don't know if I want to drive that car. I don't know if I wanted to get up in the morning. I don't know what I want to happen. I don't know. I don't know where I want to go eat. Oh, I don't know what I want to do for my birthday. The ego does not know what it wants to come of the situation. The ego is the part of you that is aware. The ego is aware, but what is it that the ego is aware of? What it doesn't want. What is it that a frightened mind is aware of what it doesn't want, what it doesn't want, what it doesn't want. Okay. All right. Yvette says, kiss. Keep it simple, sweetheart. Shahira says, loving you, sending out love to us. Brooke says, the ego makes you, keeps you confused. Why does the ego keep you confused, Brooke? Because it's the part of your mind that doesn't know what it wants. Shahira says, I am not at peace when the ego is running me. That's how you know that it's the ego running you, because you're not at peace. Arlene says, it's simple, easily understood, and applicable now. That equals God. Amen. Alita says, fear-based response to ego whinings. Shahira says, when I allow the ego to rule, you can know it because you feel misery. I love doing this live in the comments. Joseph is saying, thank you, love you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I dedicate all thoughts to union. Kim says, you guys are my spiritual cousins. So Kim, you have to decide, what do you want to come out of your relationship to your spiritual cousins? Elaine said, the ego makes you crazy. You make yourself crazy with your ego is the way that it really works. Brooke says, when the ego runs me, I feel unworthy. Right. When you make your ego or allow your ego to run you, you feel unworthy. Ego equals tension, says Renew. Yes, the ego is non-committal. That's right. The fear-based mind doesn't know what it should commit itself to in any situation. See how the Course in Miracles is teaching you how to tell the difference between truth and illusion? How the Course in Miracles is teaching you how to tell the difference between when you're listening to your real self and when you're listening to your false self. The Course in Miracles says that's the only purpose of the book. That the purpose of the material is to teach you how to make right choices. And when you know what you're choosing between, you'll choose the right thing. When you know what you're choosing between, you'll choose the right thing. But the Course is saying you guys don't know when you're choosing love and when you're choosing fear. A lot of times you're choosing fear and you think you're choosing love. And a lot of times you're choosing love if that's the thing that you're making yourself feel afraid of. So let's go to paragraph 3. So why is it that it seems like things just seem to happen to you? Have you ever noticed that there's a part of you that feels like things just happen to you? Have you noticed that there are a lot of people in the world that it looks like things are always just happening to them? Are you one of those people that it always looks like you're the nicest little, sweetest little, cutest little, most innocent little being in the world, but there's always something happening to you. There's always something happening to you. There's always somebody messing with you. Are you one of those people that's really, really a good person, but you just always got some drama going on? There's always something happening unexpected. Are you one of those people that just, you're the sweetest little, nicest little thing in the world, but you're always going through hell about one thing after another thing, after another thing, after another thing? Why is it that situations just seem to happen? Well, the Course in Miracles says it right here in the paragraph 3, chapter 17, section 6, paragraph 3, chapter 17, section 6, paragraph 3 says, without a clear-cut positive goal set at the outset, the situation just seems to happen. Without a clear-cut positive goal set at the beginning, the situations in your life will just seem to happen unless you have a clear-cut positive goal that you've set. It's going to look like things just seem to happen to you. Without a clear-cut positive goal that you set at the beginning, at the outset, the situation just seems to happen. So that is the answer to the question, why do things just seem to happen? The reason why things just seem to happen is because there was no clear-cut positive goal set at the outset. So the situation just seems to happen. The situation just seems to make no sense until it's already happened. So it's after something has happened, it's after something has happened that you try to make sense of it. That's the ego. After something has happened, then you try to figure out what it meant. Then you look back at the situation. Then you try to piece together what the situation must have meant. When you don't have a goal, then things just seem to happen to you. And then after it happens to you, you try to make sense of it. Then you look back at it. Then you try to piece together what happened. And it says, and you will be wrong. When things just seem to happen to you, and you didn't have any kind of goal in the first place, and then you try to figure out what it meant, the Course says, when you try to piece it together, when you try to figure out what it meant after it's happened, you will be wrong. Why is it that you will be wrong? Because not only is your judgment in the past, you're thinking about what happened in the past that may have made that happen, you didn't have any idea what should happen because you didn't set a goal at the very beginning. Since you didn't set a goal at the very beginning, you don't really know what should happen. If I don't set the goal, then I can't know what's happened. If I set the goal to teach this class to you, then I can judge whether or not that's happened. So you only know what's happening when you had a goal that you've set for what should happen. So the most important thing that you should do is get clear at the very beginning about what it is you want to happen. And there's not but two things that can happen: unity or separation. There's only two things that can happen: love or fear. There's only two things that can happen: innocence or guilt. There's but two things that can happen. So set the goal for what you want to happen, and then you'll be able to evaluate what's happened. But if you don't have a goal, and then something just happened to you, and then you try to piece together what it must have meant by looking back at the past, the Holy Spirit just told us you're going to be wrong because your judgment is in the past and you didn't have any idea about what should happen. That means that you didn't set a goal with which to bring the means in line. So it's very important that you set a goal that you can bring the means in line with. And so since you didn't do that and you just had something that just seems to be happening to you and you had no idea about what should happen because you never really set a clear-cut goal in the very beginning, now the only judgment left to make is whether or not your ego likes what's happened, is what has happened to you acceptable, or does what has happened to you call for vengeance and revenge. So a person who doesn't have a goal, who's listening to their ego, who never got an idea about what should happen in the first place, then they have something happen to them, then they try to make sense of what's happened to them after it's already happened, then that person is going to try to look back over the past and try to figure out what happened, but they really didn't have any idea about what should happen because they didn't set a goal in the first place about what should happen. Then the only judgment that that person is left to have is, do I like what's happened? Is what's happened acceptable to me? Or am I going to have to kick some butt? Or am I going to have to get some revenge? Or am I going to have to get upset about this? I didn't know what should happen. I tried to piece together what happened. I'm wrong about it because I didn't have any idea about what should happen in the first place. And so I didn't set a goal to bring the means in line. So the only thing left for me to judge is, do I like what has happened? Is what has just happened to me acceptable? Or is this something I need to get upset about? Is this something I might need to get some vengeance about? The absence of a criterion for outcome, which is a fancy way of saying the absence of a goal, not having a goal, the absence of a criterion for outcome set when? In advance. You set the goal when? In advance. Before you go out tomorrow night, set the goal in advance. I want to have a very loving, peaceful time this evening. I want to have a very safe, peaceful, loving time this evening. I want to know my relationship with God this evening. The absence of a criterion for outcome, the absence of a goal set in advance makes understanding doubtful. and evaluation impossible. If you don't have a goal, then you don't understand what's going on. If you don't have a goal, you can't evaluate what's going on. So a person who doesn't know what's going on, according to this, would be a person who had no idea what they wanted to happen, that they had set in advance, and so they don't have any understanding of what the heck is going on, and so they cannot rightly evaluate what's going on. Boy, paragraph 3 was off the chain. Paragraph 3 was off the chain. It's chapter 17, Course in Miracles, section 6, paragraph 3. Okay, so let's see if we can get this. Okay, why is it that things just seem to happen to a person? Who knows why things just seem to happen to a person? Is it because they didn't have a clear-cut positive goal? That's the person that it just looks like situations seem to happen to. Is that a person who doesn't have a goal? That is a person that doesn't have a goal. Now, I'm feeling like it's important for me to share something with you all. When I say that when the Course says you set the goal at the beginning, and then that's going to determine how everything turns out. If I set the goal to do this class, then that's how it turned out. I'm doing this Facebook Live class. Why? Because I set the goal in advance. You saw the advertisement before it happened, for example. So because I set the goal, I can evaluate this situation. Let me give you an example. I set the goal to teach the class. I'm here teaching the class, so I can evaluate that I'm doing and accomplishing my goal. Now, if I had set the goal to come to the class, but I went to the Denver Auto Show, then I could still evaluate the situation because my goal was to come to the class. So I didn't. So I can evaluate that I didn't succeed at my goal. So unless you have a goal, you cannot evaluate situations. If you have no idea what should happen in a relationship, you can't really evaluate what's happening in the relationship. What you're going to do is you're going to start judging. And we were told this is how you're going to judge. You're going to go, well, this has happened and it just seemed to happen to me. Do I like what's happened to me? Is this acceptable to me? Or do I need to get angry about this? Do I need to get some friggin' vengeance about this? That's what happens when a person doesn't have any goals. That's what happens when a person is not using the specific guidelines that the Holy Spirit gives. If a person is not using the specific guidelines that the Holy Spirit gives, if a person is not using the specific guidelines that the Holy Spirit gives, then they cannot evaluate what's going on in a situation. And so things just seem to happen to them. And the only thing they can do is just evaluate, did I like it? Did I not like it? Do I need to get upset about this? And do I need to get angry about this? Okay. Now, what's the next thing that we heard? That if you don't have a goal that you set in advance, your understanding is going to be doubtful, and evaluation is going to be what? Impossible. Paragraph 4. Woo! Is this good to you? I need to hear this so much. It's really good to me. Is it as good for you as it is for me? Then send me some hearts. Send me some love. Let me see some hearts dancing across that screen, mighty companions. If you're with me, if you support me, if you're glad to hear this, let me know it. Let me know it. Let me know it, because I love you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for sending me that love. And don't forget to share the video. Share the video and like my page, the Earl Purdy page. That's right. Thank you for sending out the love. I'm just like you. I appreciate appreciation. And I appreciate you. And I love you. Oh, I love that. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, now, thank you for sending me those hearts. Woo, they got me all worked up. It made me feel so good. Oh, Lordy, I feel so good. Oh, God. Oh, ooh. Boom, boom, pop, boom, 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 pop, boom, 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 boom. Ow, ooh, ow, ooh, ooh, that, that felt good. I had decided in advance what I wanted to hear. And I love what I just heard. All right. Okay, let me get focused back in. What is the value of deciding in advance? What is the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen? Why is it valuable for you to set a goal? Why is it that you need to set a goal? You need to set a goal. The value of deciding in advance what you want to happen. Notice that it says the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply, remember that it said the Course in Miracles said that the Holy Spirit's instructions would always be what? Simple. So the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen, the value in deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you will perceive the situation as a means to make what you want to happen, it happen. This is such a powerful sentence that I'm going to say it a few more times until you actually hear what I'm saying. The value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you're going to see the situation as a way to make what you want to happen happen. If you know what you want to happen and in this situation, then in that situation, you're going to try to use that situation to make what you want to happen happen. If I want to teach you in A Course in Miracles tonight, then I'm going to see this situation as a way to make that happen. So the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you're going to perceive the situation or relationship as a means to make it happen. The reason why it's important for you to decide what you want to happen in any situation is so that you can see the situation as a way to make what you want to happen happen. The purpose of the situation is always to make what you want to happen happen. The purpose of any situation is always to make what you want to happen happen. That is the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen. If you decide what you want to happen with me, then you're going to see the situation when you're with me as an opportunity to make what you want to happen with me happen with me. So that's why it's valuable to decide what you want to experience before you go into a situation, because then you will see the situation as a way to make what you want to happen happen. So what do you do to make what you want to happen happen? What do you do to make what you want to happen happen? Well, it's going to tell you in the next sentence. It says, if you want to make what you want to happen happen in any situation that you've decided what you want to happen, then you will therefore make every effort to do what? You are to make every effort, every effort to do what? Every effort to overlook. To overlook? Yeah. You're going to make every effort to overlook. What is it that you're going to try to overlook? What is it that you're going to try to overlook if you're trying to make what you want to happen happen? If it's something you want to make happen and you want to make it happen, what is it that you need to make every effort to overlook? You need to make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. If you want to make something you want to happen happen because you've already decided what you want to happen, you make every effort to overlook what interferes with your goal. You make every effort to overlook what interferes with your goal. If you want to make something happen that you want to happen, that you have already decided what you want to happen and you want it to happen, do you know that all you have to do, listen, all you have to do is to make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. Make every effort to overlook what interferes with your goal. Make every effort to overlook the things that interfere with your goal. Make every effort to overlook the people who interfere with your goal. If you want to be successful in accomplishing your objective, you have to make every effort to overlook what interferes with your objective. Overlook what interferes with your objective. Overlook what interferes with your goal. Did it say analyze it? No. Did it say analyze what interferes with your goal? No. Did it say focus on what interferes with your goal? No. What did it say? It says, make every effort to overlook what interferes. Make every effort to overlook what interferes. Make every effort to overlook what interferes. Overlook what interferes. Overlook who interferes. Overlook what interferes. Overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. That's how you make whatever you want to happen, happen. Okay, so what is the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen? It's simply that you're going to see the situation as a way to make what you want to happen, happen. So how do you make what you want to happen, happen? You make what you want to happen, happen by making every effort to overlook what interferes with your objective. You make what you want to happen, happen by making an effort to overlook everything that interferes with your objective. If you will notice, my eyes are closed. If you will notice, my eyes are closed. And what I'm doing is I am remembering what I was told. I'm not analyzing what I was told. I am remembering what the Holy Spirit told me. So what did the Holy Spirit tell me? The Holy Spirit told me that the value of deciding in advance what I want to happen is that I'll perceive the situation as a way to make what I want to happen, happen. And the way that I make what I want to happen, happen is to make every effort to overlook what interferes with my objective. If you notice that my eyes were closed and I was remembering what I was told, that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing with the Course in Miracles. Do you know that you're not supposed to be analyzing the Course in Miracles? What you are supposed to be doing as a good Course in Miracles student is following the simple guidelines and remembering to do what you're told. That's it. Just do what you're told. Just do what you're being told. What are you being told? Well, you're being told that if you want something to happen, you need to decide in advance what you want to happen. Then you're supposed to see every situation that you go into as an opportunity to make what you want to happen, happen. There are but two things that can happen. Something that brings you love or something that brings you some form of fear or upset. So what do you do to accomplish your goal? What you do is you make every effort to overlook what interferes with your objective. And how do you do that? You concentrate on everything that helps you meet your goal. You concentrate on everything that helps you meet your goal. If you want to make something happen, you put all your attention on what helps you meet your objective. And you overlook everything that keeps you from meeting your objective. So you don't focus on everything that upsets you. You don't focus on everything that upsets you. You don't focus on everything that makes you feel fear and upset. What you focus on is everything that helps you meet your goal. Who do you focus on? You focus on the people who help you meet your goal. Since I have the goal of love, and I have the goal of freedom, and I have the goal of peace, then those are the people I focus on in my life. I focus my attention on the people who help me meet my goal of peace. I don't focus a lot of attention on people that I'm constantly giving myself some type of upset about. I don't focus on all the people that I think I have grievances with. I don't focus on all the things that I could use to upset me, because that would be interfering with my goal. And what is my goal? My goal is love. My goal is peace. My goal is God. So the Course in Miracles says this is how you make what you want to happen, happen. The value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you will perceive the situation as a means to make it happen. That means you will make every effort to overlook everything that interferes with your goal, and you concentrate on everything that helps you meet your goal. Now, the Course in Miracles says it is quite noticeable that this approach, what approach? Overlooking what interferes with your objective, concentrating on everything that helps you meet your objective. This approach has brought you closer to the Holy Spirit's sorting out of truth and falsity. So now the Course in Miracles is going to share with us how God sorts out what's true from what's false. The Course in Miracles is going to show us how to sort out what is true from what is false. Would you like to know that? Well, it's about to do it in the next part of this paragraph. The true becomes what can be used to meet the goal. So you're supposed to start saying the thing that is true is the thing that helps me meet my purpose. The thing that is true for me is the thing that helps me meet my goal. The true becomes what can be used to meet the goal. So if you are being loving to me and my goal is love, well, then I know you are true, because you can be used to meet my goal of love, because you are also loving. So you can be true to me because I can use you to meet my goal. So whatever helps you meet your goal, that's what's true. Whatever helps you meet the goal of love, whatever helps you meet the goal of freedom, whatever helps you meet the goal of God, that is what should be seen as real in your life. That's the thing that's true. So what is the true relationship? The true relationship is a relationship you're in that you can use to meet your goals. A relationship that you can use to meet your goal, and hopefully your goal is God and love. That is what is a true relationship. What's true is whatever will help you reach your goal. The false, so what is the false? The false becomes the useless. So what's useless? Anything that's false. What's false? What is false is anything that does not help me meet my goal of love and peace. That's what's false. So the false becomes the what? Useless from this point of view. From what point of view? The point of view of, if it doesn't help me meet my goal, it's not really real. If it doesn't help me meet my goal, it is not really true. So the false becomes the useless from this point of view. And so, do you know that from this point of view, the situation now has meaning, because the goal has made the situation mean something to me. If I have the goal of truth with you, if I have the goal of love with you, then this situation that we're in right now, this sharing that we're in right now, it has been made meaningful. This gathering is meaningful to me. This gathering, you are meaningful to me. You mean something to me, for real. So how do I know you really mean something to me? Because of my goal. You see, my goal is to use our relationship for love. My goal is to use our relationship for peace. So if I can use you for love and you can use me for love, if we can use each other for love, if we can use each other for peace, now that's the true meaning of being true to each other. Like that term, we need to be true to each other. Yeah, but being true to each other from a Course in Miracles perspective means we are helping each other achieve the goal of God. We are helping each other achieve the goal of happiness. We're helping each other achieve the goal of love. That means we are being true to each other right now. And anything that interferes with that, that's what's false. That's what's useless from a Course in Miracles point of view. All right, so remember to listen to this many, many, many times. This was a priceless sharing from the Holy Spirit, the voice for God from the Course in Miracles. And I'm going to do a quick review of the main point. I want to thank you for tuning in, especially live, and sharing this video. I am a full-time teacher. That's what I love to do in the world. I would appreciate a financial expression of appreciation. I would appreciate a financial expression of appreciation. Just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy.com. I am available. I am a teacher, a counselor, an advisor, using the teachings of A Course in Miracles and other wisdom texts for over 40 years. I've been a practitioner of sacred higher consciousness, astrology, and numerology for 40 years. There is a purpose to your being here. There is a blueprint of the intentions of your soul in coming here, and I can share with you what that is, and if you're open to it. And definitely can use the Course in Miracles and other wisdom texts to work with you through any situations that are just seeming to happen to you. C.J. Colladine Adams and I are going to be doing a powerful, powerful workshop called Share the Love on May 12th. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and you will be able to get more information about it. We're going to have more detailed information up about it. And it's on May 12th, 2018. Make sure you're on the contact list, on my contact list. Go to my website. This is going to be a relationship workshop, online and in person, that's unlike anything you've ever seen before in this form. And it's about having peace and love and total fulfillment in all relationships. It's not just about romantic relationships, even though it includes. It's what does a real holy relationship really look like, and other powerful things. So again, it's going to be on May 12th. There's a link that CJ just put up that you can get more information and register for it. I'm so looking forward to it, because it's time to go to the next level with my mighty companions. EarlPurdy.com. 7 p.m. on Tuesday, The Way of Mastery on Facebook Live, Mountain Time. Thursdays, Hardcore Course in Miracles, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live. Sunday, 1 p.m. A Course in Miracles on Facebook Live. Go to this link, www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. That is the link to tune in on my Facebook Live broadcast, and people can watch the broadcast from that link, whether they're Facebook members or not. Spread the word, please. Spread the word, please. I need your help. I need your help. And I don't mind asking for that, because you are God. You are spirit. Yes, and go to the Earl Purdy page on Facebook and like it and follow it, so you can be made aware whenever I'm getting ready to do a live broadcast. I'm so excited about this presentation that CJ and I are going to do. You know, we have a very powerful, loving, holy relationship, and we want to expand that at a very deep level and learn together with others who want holy, sane, loving relationships with everyone in a brand new way, an evolutionary relationship. Okay, EarlPurdy.com. That's where you go for more information. All right, so let's do the quick review. Let's see how much we remember. Well, the first thing that we heard was what? The first thing that we heard was that the Holy Spirit's purpose is really simple, and that anything that's simple, it must be something that's easily understood, and it's something that's clear. If it comes from God, it's simple, it's easily understood, and it's clear. And don't you know that the next thing that the Holy Spirit told us, the Course told us, was that you have to start specifically applying this teaching to each and every situation in your life. Because right now you're not able to apply the truth and love unconditionally to every situation. So you're just supposed to apply the truth very specifically to specific situations that you're going through in your life, because the Holy Spirit provides very specific guidelines for any situation. Then do you know that we were told that you need to remember you don't know how to do this completely yet. He actually said, don't forget that you don't know how to do this all the time yet. So you need to keep applying the truth to every situation separately until you can apply it with an understanding far greater than you have right now. Then what was the next thing we were told about what to do in any situation that you have doubt and fear and upset? Well, if there's any situation that you have any kind of doubt, any kind of fear, what is the first thing you're supposed to do? You're supposed to ask yourself, what do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? Do you know that the clarification of the goal, you need to clarify the goal at the beginning, because the goal is going to determine the outcome. But the ego doesn't know what it wants. All the ego knows is what it doesn't want. I don't like this. I don't want that. That's all the ego mind knows. Do you know why things just seem to happen to you? Do you know why things just seem to happen to people? It's because they don't have a clear-cut positive goal set at the beginning. And do you know that the Course in Miracles told us that the only true goal is the goal of God, the goal of truth, and the goal of love? And that should be what you're asking for in any situation. And then if you don't have a goal and something happens to you, the Course in Miracles says, then you try to look back on it. You try to figure out what went wrong. And then the Course says, you're going to be wrong when you try to figure out what's gone wrong. The Course says, because you know what? You didn't set a goal to begin with. You didn't have any idea of what should have happened. And so the only thing left is for you to go, do I like it? Do I not like it? Or do I need to get upset about it? Do I like it? Do I not like what happened? Or do I need to get upset about it? So if you don't have a goal, if you're not clear about what you want to happen, then understanding is going to be doubtful and evaluation is going to be impossible. Now, the Course in Miracles is then saying, what is the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen? Do you know that the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is that you're going to see the situation that you're in as a way to make what you want to happen happen? And tonight we were told how to make what we want to happen happen. It says the way to make what you want to happen happen is to make every effort to overlook what interferes with your goal. Make every effort to overlook who interferes with your goal. So how do you do that? How do you make every effort to overlook what interferes with your goal? Well, I'm going to tell you. The way you make every effort to overlook what interferes with your goal is by concentrating on everything that helps you meet your goal. You got to concentrate on everything that helps you meet your goal. So if you do that, you've come closer to the Holy Spirit's way of sorting out truth from false. What is the truth as opposed to what's false? Well, the truth becomes what can be used to meet the goal. I say the truth becomes what can be used to meet the goal. The truth is what can be used to meet the goal. The truth is what can be used to meet the goal. Do you know that what is false becomes the useless, because the false is whatever doesn't help you meet the goal. Whatever doesn't help you meet your goal, that is what is false. And whatever is true is what helps you meet the goal. So you're helping me meet my goal of love and truth. You are helping me meet the goal of oneness. You're helping me meet the goal of holy relationships, sane relationships. You are helping me meet the goal. My brother John Christmas at johnchristmas.com. This is his music. You can download it for free. So what's real is what helps you meet your goal. What's unreal is what is not helping you meet your goal. And that's how you can tell what's true and what is false. So again, in any situation that you have doubt or fear in, what do? You say, what do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, because the goal is going to determine how it turns out. Don't forget, the goal is going to determine how it turns out. What do I want to come of this? What is it for? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, because the goal determines the outcome. 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 You and me, we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. Mighty companion, we've been together from the start. We have this goal of love, you all. Tell me, can you hear it? Did you hear the Course in Miracles through me tonight? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it, yeah. And know that we are. The goal determines the outcome. 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 I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. Mighty companions, you did some awesome communicating with each other. We are one, and I bless you. And guess what? May the Course be with you. See you at the workshop.